For today, I would like to do something different. Rather than doing a 1 hour of episode of doing everything, I'm going to show you how to make a realistic roundabout and also show you how to make the AI behave more realistic besides making the right lane switches. Got this roundabout down here, and I spent about 1 hour making it because I had to go in-game, out-game to get the right asset, the right props and all that kind of stuff. So keep in mind, depending on your style, you need to download the right assets, because this is more of a European roundabout rather than an Asian one or an American one. There are definitely some differences. So I got this roundabout right around here, and as you can see, it is pretty big. That is because I made it from an aerial view and it need to be different. I'm also going to show you a few couple of mods that I am using meanwhile I'm building this. And the first thing that I am going to do is make this roundabout a lot smaller. So I'm going to put the game on pause because we don't need to let it run anyways. For this, I'm actually using urban roads of American sizes, and in this case I got a 4 lane down here, a 4 lane down here, and a 2 lane right around here. And the first thing that I have to do is of course make a cross. That is the classic way of making a roundabout. I'm going to drag this all the way here and that all the way there if possible. Now, it is a little bit hilly down here. You can choose to, smoothen it all out. But I'm just going to deal with it. Now, there might be a problem coming up with making a smaller corner in here. I'm just going to show you that and see if it happens or not. I am going to use the right road already. I'm going to use a 2-lane one-way. And what I should be doing here. This is the ultimate eye candy mod, and with this you can set the time. You got like a mod called time warp, but then I decided I want to make the game look a lot more crisp, make it more colorful, which you can do with LUT. Select different ones, and this mod actually conflicts with time warp, so I got the time warp deinstalled. And now the game just does what it needs to do. I'm going to put the time off, just in case. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker like that, and I should turn on the rain. The reason why I'm making it darker, so you can see the raster a lot better. So in this case, I'm going to use the make a corner part, and I want to make sure that I keep a block of 4 empty. And what you can also do, if you have too much problems with all those lines in the screen, turn off the road galdousness. So now I can make it 4 like that. And as you can see, there is a problem. Space is already occupied. So what I'm gonna do here is make it myself easier and make this road smaller already. Sometimes you have to, work around. So I'm just gonna keep that selected. I'm gonna place this one down here. This one down there. It might be a very weird shape. Just to make people not complain about it. Just gonna do it the other way. And what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna remove the parts that I don't need. I should. I'm too silly. I should have just make it like that. Just don't look at the shape, okay? Just don't look at the shape. So let's remove the parts that I use in order to cut the roads in pieces. Now let's use the corner one. Now I can place this one here and then there. And as you can see, it now worked out. Like that. Like that. Now we got a very tiny little roundabout. What I can do also now is take a 4-lane road, which is this one, get the straight one out, connect it up right away like that, and then take a 2-lane road, because these one are a 2-lane, connect it up like that. Then we can remove all the other stuff, and we got a perfect roundabout. Very good. Of course, this is not everything. So since I'm going for a European type of roundabout, I want to have a little bit of a hill in the middle. I see that a lot. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the strength all the way to 0.01, and I'm going to use this brush size, and I'm going to scale it up until it's almost filled in. So this is a little too much. I'm going to put it 50, this would be perfect, and then I'm going to give it a few taps until, you know, it's nice and hilly, so you basically cannot see the lights at night from the other cars shine into your face. I'm not sure if that is the reason why they did that, or if they just did it, you know, because it looks nice and you can have plants on it and signs and whatever not. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make use of a decal. And decals is just stuff you can place on the road. We can also place it on the grass. And the thing that I'm gonna use down here is the search function. This is also a mod called search box. It is very handy, and I'm gonna type in decal and let it search for me. Now you might see that I have to scroll for days. The thing that I'm going to do, which I also downloaded, is expand toolbar mod. It just basically raises it up, and you know, you got more, you got 3 rows instead of 1. I'm going to use these one, the cobblestone looking ones. You got like this one, big one, and a very tiny one. I'm going to use the one of 7 meters. And you can see that the grass is coming through it, right? We don't want the grass come through it. We want to make it look nice, that you know, the road is being maintained. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stuff. This is surface tool, and with the surface tool, then you know, let the grass disappear. You only have to be careful not to do the edges though. So I'm going to remove it here, so that will come back. Just select it underneath the road tool. And there we go, it should be fixed up again, just like that. Beautiful. But this looks pretty much boring, so we're gonna go back to the decal and select the one of 7 meters. Now you could make like a quarter part and then select the whole quarter and copy it and copy it and copy it. But I noticed when you're on a hillside, copying it will make some parts disappear into the ground. And if your roundabout is not like too perfect, it can also be yeah, a pain up the butt that it's not like completely right. And the thing that I should have been done is let the sidewalk up here, because now I cannot really aim it out perfectly. So make sure, and this shouldn't have done this right away, but make sure that only the sidewalk here for a bit is visible, so you know, have a right distance from the sidewalk and yeah, the part that's going to be filled up. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to make sure that the edges are close to the sidewalk. You will get a little bit of a gap underneath, but later on we're going to fill it in with surface tool and you won't see anything of it. And I'm going to do this everywhere. And by not rotating this, I know that I'm getting the cross section first. And you don't have to do too perfect, just a little bit like that. And now I can just rotate this a little bit and start filling in the blank. Now, like I said, if you by the way, I'm seeing something that is wrong. Should have watched what I'm doing here. You want to make sure that the tiles are horizontal and not like vertical, because then it's going to look very weird. Rookie mistake. Very good. I'm going to place it back. Place this one here and then rotate it. Just click. And I'm using later on the move it tool, and in order to place decals and stuff, you need to use the prop tool. I'm just gonna show you in the options that I got tons of these things. I got like prop snapping, I have prop it up, I have, there should be another one somewhere, landscaping tools, proper tree, anarchy. So I got a lot of these ones that I'm using in my gameplay. Back to this stuff. So this is now fine. Now I can just rotate this. I'm just gonna do it a little bit quick. I'm not going to be too precise because you won't see anything of it. You just want to make sure that the gap between the stones is close, the side gap, and then that should be fine. So I'm using a lot of these European signs. I am using signs from Switzerland. I'm using signs from the Netherlands. And it's okay to mix it up a couple of them. I think having the color right is the most important thing. Because I had like a sign that looked like yellow, like American-ish, and that didn't fit in with the blue ones. So that's why I keep going in and out of the game to find the right props. And the reason why I'm really going out of my game maximal is going to the main menu is enough to, you know, get the downloads into your game, make it working. But sometimes the eye candy mod doesn't work properly anymore, which I mean that the time is just moving and you cannot use the sliders of it. So whatever you do, you cannot stop the time. So it's like broken. And if you just restart your game, it's fixed again, which is very good. Now to make the AI look more realistic, like I said, I'm not only going to mess around with lane changing. After I did that, I really noticed that the AI is driving very rough. And the point is, I'm not sure what is the speed limit onto a roundabout, but I did mess around with the speed limit, which I did with the road tool, which is this one up here, which is called, yeah, it is called this. Let me see if I can get the straight name of it. It should be somewhere around here. Let me see, building teams, road color changes. You can make the road look more darker and get rid of certain things like decals. I think it's just, this is the name, it's just called TMPE and stable. You can find this in the workshop. Now a lot of these mods that I'm actually having here, I have found by putting the filter of the workshop onto most subscribers. Then you can find most of these mods, which everyone who messes around with mods uses them. Like one guy I know, he's believe called Bifa. He's using that stuff a lot. Traffic manager and that kind of things. That is the last one. And placed. Okay, very good. So now we got like cobblestone all the way around. And let's bring back this stuff. So now we still have a sidewalk, and the reason why I also want to do that if people walk on here, they won't walk on the cobblestone. Now the reason why there is cobblestone is sometimes they need to do maintenance onto the roundabout, and the worker cars can be parked on here. That's, I believe, also one of the things. And yes, you can see it is not like completely round, but hey, it's a game. Alright. And next thing next, I got a mod which is called lineup, I believe. There's so many mods. Shadow strength adjuster, snap tool. Yeah, this is supposed to be one of these mods which actually supports lining things out. So what I mean, you got this stuff right down here. You know, you can make like rivers and stuff and flood walls, but you're also able to use the same technique with barriers. So what I did around here, I turned everything off in order to not have this, you know, to get max control over this. I have to see what is the difference. Barrier 1, barrier 1. I don't know why it's double in here. So what I did here is select this part first. I'm going to do the same what I did with the roads. And just place this one down here. And yes, it is not aimed out. I think what causes this, just gonna remove it again, is because I need to turn off the prop stuff. I know the hotkey is Control P. And now this stuff is turned on. It will also bring this into the screen. Certain mods use the same hotkeys. So if I'm not wrong, I can do this. Now, no, okay. Well, maybe I could do it to the middle, but I can just deal with it. So I'm just gonna place it there, and this one there, that one kind of there. So this will give the same idea as doing it with the roads. Now it is a little bit loose though. I'm gonna turn everything on except road callousness. Now I can make this stuff, right? This is part 1 of it. Now sometimes it's like still messing around. I believe it's the angle doing that. No, it's the grid. I'm not quite sure. I think this should be fine now. Sometimes you just have to play around with it, and as you can see, it's not very perfect. But in this case, to make this look more perfect, we can make use of the movement tool. I'm gonna remove all of this stuff. And yeah, doing this on a hilly mountainside is challenging. But what I should be able to do here is select a part and then press page down, which doesn't seem to work. How about this side then? Yeah, so now I can just move it down more into the ground there. You cannot do it with the middle sections apparently. You have to only do this with the side ones. You shouldn't be too much worried about shadowing because even though this part here is into the ground, it still doesn't show proper shadowing. As long as it does feels good that it's into the ground. Page up and down does the trick. Also this one. And yeah, you can see here that the texture is going through it. You can select it and move it a little bit. It won't be too perfect. I'll have to mess around with it. Something like that could do. Perfect. So in order to make this look a little more interesting, I basically use the excuse me, I used the default type of blends here. Now let me set the brush size on single so you can always see what you have in your hands. And this should be like a very large one. So I just went a little nuts with this. You don't have to do it. I do wish, and maybe there is like a way to turn off like the blue outline. Because sometimes it's a little bit in the way. Just gonna do this and rotate stuff. Trying to find like a nice little angle to push it up for a bit. And this one, and then one more. Gonna be very bushy. And make sure everything is within the barrier. Okay, very good. And yeah, if you really like, you know, things don't look that proper, you can just use the move it tool to move it aside just a little bit more, so it doesn't start to annoy you. Just like that, very simple. Tiny touches. Okay, I'm not too worried about that. Then I'm going to use like a smaller version and try to fill up empty spots here. You don't have to do it too perfect. Not always imperfections. This and one more here to make it gonna be a little bit different. So now we got like push it up. Now if you don't like to, you know, see too much concrete on the inside, you can just select this and, you know, use the other mouse button and trying to find a bit of a balance. Yeah, but I'm not too worried about that. I like it the way it is. So what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna add in a prop because I like it when there is something in the middle, something to take a look at. And the way how I'm going to do that is placing in. Okay, I have a better idea. Just for now, going to go to this roundabout, which is roundabout here. And I'm going to select this one and press Ctrl C. Just copy it so I don't have to search for it. I'm just gonna place it in the middle, of course. Like that. Like that. Perfect. So now I got like a sign. You can do anything. Like there are a lot of basic stuff that you can use. Like you can use like something, I don't know, something like these kinds of signs in there, you know, place it like right around here, or use something bigger like that, and then you can place it here. Use the move it tool to sink it into the ground a little bit more so it doesn't stick out too much. There's a lot of possibilities you can do here, but I just like to use this one and to be a little higher, something like that. A nice Dutch feeling. Alright, so you know what, before doing the lane switch, there is one more thing that I would like to place down, and that is to make sure that people know that this is a roundabout. Roundabouts are not like particularly new in America, but I seen like a video of a roundabout. I don't know which state it was. And people were not used to what are roundabouts, so people went like this way rather than going around that way. It's kind of hilarious to see. I'm gonna search for a sign. Let it search up. This is so handy. There is tons and tons of stuff that I just randomly selected, and I should go all the way around here. Then I got this one, which is a Swedish road sign. We have the same one in the Netherlands actually. And then all that is left to do is give it a nice spot. I like to place it right around here, not too far away, to make sure that people know that this is a roundabout. It's the same on this side. Very simple. But it just adds so many more detail if you just place a couple of extra signs. We're gonna place some signs for the crosswalk and stuff and add in crosswalk. We do that later on. The first thing I want to do is make use of this the road mod. With the road mod we have lane connector. This is kind of where the fun begins. Yeah, so we select this one, and what we want to do is the people that come from here, when they drive here, they can already decide, do I need to go off with the first part or at the second part? So then the traffic will be managed the correct way. So this one is going to be right down there. This one obviously is going to go right down there. Then unselect it, select this one. Gonna go right down there, so these folks can go straight away there. This one is gonna go straight. This one obviously is gonna go there. This is a one lane, so we cannot do too much about it, but I have an idea what we can do in order to make them switch lanes still. This one there, that one there. It seems very obvious, right? And this one there, and this one must go straight. And by the way, this one can also go here easily. That one is fine, and we only have to do this one. gonna go there and there, and you're gonna go there. So yeah, now you're like, okay, they can go from here to here, and they can go on it, but they don't really seem to go off it. And as you can see, there is not really a middle part to mess around with. I just don't want people to switch lanes on this section. I want them to switch lanes on this section. There's one little trick that I discovered, kinda, is make a road between in. Kinda aim it out. You don't have to do this too perfect, but at least such a way that it makes sense. Now I believe here is already one, but if you got a normal road here, you can do it at the sides, like I do right down here. Kinda-ish. And what it does right now, it creates extra sections. No, this one. There we go. So now it has extra sections. And now what we can do is say that the middle one can also switch lanes right in the middle of a part where nothing is happening. Just like that. So they can go off at any part between in where they like to. Hope that makes a bit of sense. And we can do the same here. You can go there and there. And you can go, of course, keep going straight. Then we have this one right around here. I think this one was already here, I'm not quite sure. But if not, then you can just make a piece of road. Just like that. So now all the parts, they can go on, they can go off, and whatever not. Sometimes things seem to be, I don't know, reset or something. It didn't happen at the other one, so I'll guess you first need to place the between in roads. I don't know exactly what happened here. Maybe it's because I created another section here, it got reset. I think that is the problem. So make sure you check everything. So make sure you first add in the extra roads and then set it all the right way. That is fine. They can go here, they can go off. This one goes on the in one and then goes off that way. So now everything has set up the correct way. If not, then let me know in the comment section, but it should be fine like this. And now I can remove these ones. Please work. It worked. So it is still there because we created a section here, then it breaks the road apart and always keeps it apart. The game doesn't force it back to be one part again, then you need to replace the whole road. As you can see right down here, kind of did the same thing, make an extra road and make all these connections. So this makes the AI behave more realistic, and also it is more logic to do it like that. That kind of stuff. Now you can also decide to no, that doesn't work on this way. Okay, never mind that. So yeah, there is the realistic lane switching. What else? Well, we can add like crosswalks. Now the thing here is a little bit, I didn't search for a correct crosswalk on European way, so I actually got an Asian one. They'll probably tell me a Korean decal. And if you want to make it really realistic on European way, you should have like a nice white one and then have a line all the way down here, just like this line here. In this case, I'm just gonna deal with it. Just gonna place this one here and rotating this around in order to close the gap here is not gonna work. So I have a bit of a different trick. Going to need to aim this out. Kinda is. There's probably a way of doing this more easily. Yeah, but I haven't really discovered every mod just yet. Just trying to eyeball this out. Just like that. And then I'm going to use the single one in order to fill in the gap. And this is really the moment that I wish the blue outline wasn't there. It's all a matter of eyeballing it out. Something like that. Yeah, that's kind of perfect. So now it looks like that, right? That is thing number one. And going to hold shift, select all of these parts, Ctrl C, and hope that this works. So as you can see, it disappears into the ground. The reason being for that is because it keeps the same height as this, but it might appear that it just works. Just need to rotate it. Oh yeah. Next problem. So since the decal on the left side is a single one, and on the right side there are two separate ones, I'm gonna make sure that the two separate ones are aimed out and have the left one not aimed out. There's a reason for that. I'll show you that in a second. Rotate this around and it is there. What the heck happened? So if you unselect this and select it, then you lose the copied one. I'm not sure how to undo that without turning it on and off. And there should be a way. Yeah, I do notice that page up and down doesn't really always work correct. There we go. So now we have it visible. I'm pressing page up, and I should be able to turn on and off. Okay, turn the segments and nodes off. There we go. So now I can just move it about. Just gonna aim out the lines with this line here, so something like that. There we go. So that is fixed. Now we have this stuff down here. I'm going to select this one because there are two separate ones in here. It would be a lot less work to select one and move it rather than two and move it. Something like that. I am going to select them all again and just move it a little bit and give it a slight rotate. There we go. And this one needs to have a little page up there. There we go. Perfect, just like that. And yeah, this is a little bit too wide, and you know, there should be like a line down here. But I'm not too worried about that. Modding can be a real big thing in this game, and you can spend hours upon hours onto this. So before moving on to the last part, which will be controlling a little bit more of behavior of the AI, we're just gonna add in a sign. Let me see. And you know, all of these signs are small details in order to make it look realistic. And the one that I'm going for is, I like these big pictures better, by the way, like this. The sign that I'm going for, I'm not sure if it's a big one or a small one. That's the whole downside of, you know, modding. Everyone has his own way of doing stuff. Yeah, it's this one. So this one is basically a crossover one. And I'm gonna place a couple of them because we need to warn these people is a crossover. And I don't know how the rules are in the rest of the world, but in the Netherlands you have to let the people go first. So this lets you know there is a crosswalk. Dance around with these things. I'm just doing it before the corners start to bend. Like I said, not everything is perfect. I don't have any driver license, so I'm not getting used to this daily. I'm just placing it here, and it should be clear, you know, crosswalk. Now there is one more place that I want to place it, is for the people that comes from this side, right? So what can we do? There are two things. Or you place it like this and you know it's getting a mess, or what you can also do, just gonna remove this one, is try to place the sign within the sign. This is such a precision work, it's crazy. I wish I could zoom in just a tiny bit more. I just have to deal with it, I guess. Just trying to see when the sign crosses the other sign. There we go, and then the last one. And yeah, with the mod you can also turn this default sign, turn it off, but you know, you keep messing around and it makes sense to have a sign saying you can go that way in certain countries. I believe in the Netherlands we don't have such a thing, because when it's a roundabout it's just common sense that you go right rather than left. Yeah, but I'll leave it there because I just like having a few couple different signs, and I'll just, you know, raise this up until you see a little bit of a gap between in, you know, that it looks like two signs onto each other. First you get warned for the sidewalk, and then you get warned that you shouldn't go left. I think people are more important than turning. Okay, and this one, now you might be able to see that the sign hole, see something messy going on. Just going on, select it and move it. No? Okay, there we go. You should make it blue. And this is so bad. Yeah, just move it just enough that the pole is getting behind it. Anything else you won't really see. Just a touchy. There we go. Move it up. And of course, yeah, what you can do is, you know, if you have a very flat land, you just place one, raise it up, and then it should almost be perfect. Raise it up for the rest of these signs. There we go, we got the signs done. We got the light, we got some, you know where to go. What is it saying actually? Okay. Yeah, Amsterdam is on it. Most people know Amsterdam. Alright, and now we're going to, I think this is it for most of the parts, and there is one more thing that they should be doing. Of course you can do a lot more to make it look realistic, like trees and leaves and whatever. There is one more thing, I'm seeing it. This is just something extra, you know, I just like to add. I think it's called a decal. Let it search. It's tons of stuff. Like this is cool too, you know, having some oil leaking and police cars and whatever not. Maybe I will show you how you can make like a road being closed off partly. Now the thing that I'm looking for is a silly little stripe, which is not on here. Maybe if I type in road. It's also a thing, excuse me. Not everyone uses like the same kind of names, things look different. Here's something else you can do if you already have it. Of course, just grab it, Ctrl V. I shouldn't forget that. It's way quicker than searching it if you know where it's laying about. The only downside is it takes the same height, so that's why I prefer to search for it sometime rather than just copy it. But you can place it down. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, just reselected it through and then raise it up, page up. There you go, beautiful. And now what I like to do is not really touching it right down here, but at least aim it out. It's the middle stripe, and now it looks like more getting forced into there. It's all about details. Right, so we can do this right down here. And right down here. Place it down, reselect, raise it up until it doesn't get wider. At some point when you go page up, it gets white, and if you press a couple more times and it doesn't get more wider, wider, more white, and then you know it reaches the max height from what it should be. You don't want it to be floating up in the sky. But there you go. These are all the details that I've been adding. Now let the game roll for a touchy bit. And then we're going to take a look at how traffic behaves, any other than just getting the correct lanes. I just have to wait for a minute here. Not much traffic. But the thing that I've noticed here when I looked at the roundabout is the traffic speeds up way too much. It's like crazy. And of course, I don't think there's like a speed limit different on a roundabout compared with a road like this. I think it's all the same. So what we can do is we're gonna go to the roads. Going to select the speed limits, and instead of 40 I'm going to select 20, because of this way they drive a lot more realistic. It feels more realistic that they don't go too fast. And like I said, in real life it's different, but you know, not everyone is an idiot. Most people have respect for traffic laws. Another thing that I did is, because they come with 40 and right away go to 20, is switch only those ones to 30. So they, you know, they gain speed, they slow down, getting from 40, 30 to 20, which gives it a very realistic feeling. So that is how I made it behave more realistic. I'm just gonna set it down here, so because there are a lot more cars, there are a lot more things that I would actually like to do with, you know, a short video of certain things. Now my money is rolling. Alright, so as you can see, this truck goes very fast, this car goes very fast. It is a little bit too much, right? Just a tiny touch. So then I really decided, you know what, let's slow down the speed of the cars to make them go a little more realistic. I think making things look realistic is just as important as make it behave realistic. It's a lot better, the speed. And then I was like, yeah, but look at the speed they come in and then break down real quick. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm using also this to gain speed and to slow down the speed, just to make it more realistic.